In this video, we will be discussing how new species form to create biodiversity and some ways that evolution takes place.
What do you mean by species?
A species is a group of individuals that can interbreed in nature. Scientists group organisms according to their similarities. The most similar organisms belong to a species.
So a species, the members of the same species, they can mate and then produce fertile offspring?
Yes, if their species are unable to interbreed anymore and don't reproduce, their species might be in danger to becoming extinct.
That makes sense. If they can't breed, they can't continue on. So how could a new species be formed?
Well, speciation is the process of forming new species. Some factors reduce the chance of individuals of the same species to reproduce.
Okay, so what are some of these factors?
The factors are geographical, temporal, or behavior. Any of these factors can prevent species from interbreeding with each other.
Can you tell me what each of those is? I don't really know.
Sure, I'll be happy to. Geographical isolation is having a physical barrier like mountains or rivers gets in the way of species interbreeding. Temporal refers to the time of year or time of day for interbreeding is different between members of the same species. Behavior isolation describes mating rituals are not being recognized among members of, say, a bird population.
There's a lot of things that can reduce the chances of the species interbreeding.
Yeah, so there are different ways that populations can change. We refer to things as mechanisms of evolution.
You just mentioned a word, population. What do you mean by that?
A population is a group of members of the same species. Many different species make a community.
So, okay, I understand that. Tell me more about these mechanisms of evolution.
Natural selection was covered in class already.
Yes.
That is when species most fit for the environment will survive long enough to reproduce.
Wasn't that shown when we did that peppered moth activity?
Yes, it was. Mutations are a second way that evolution happens. As you might remember, mutations are a change in genetic code of an organism.
Yes.
Mutations drive evolution.
And if I remember right, a mutation can have beneficial effects and actually help a species be more successful. That's possible, right?
Yes, that's right. A third mechanism called recombination causes evolution. We learned that if crossing over in meiosis.
So recombination is meiosis. I remember learning that meiosis causes a variation in offspring. That's why we're not clones of our parents, right?
You've got it. The fourth mechanism is gene flow.
Okay.
That is when new genes enter the population because of migration.
Okay, so that brings different things, different alleles into our population.
Yes, that's right. The fifth and last mechanism is genetic drift.
Okay.
This is when a population loses some of its members and actually reduces the variety in the population. This is another way to affect the gene pool.
Okay, you had me until you said gene pool. What is a gene pool?
Well, a gene pool is a variety of alleles in a population.
So it's like all the different features we all have?
That's correct.
Okay, so these are the 5 ways that evolution can occur.
Natural selection, mutations, recombination, gene flow, and genetic drift.
Okay, I think I got it.
Awesome.